purpose of this press conference is to let you know, pursuant to our earlier announcement, that we've now paid $7 million into a trust account with Alexander Law, and we've got here with us Sam Iskander, who is the principal of Alexander Law, and he'll be administering the payments to all the claimants that we might have. So far we've received 69 claimants, and they've been handed over to Mr Iskander's firm to process and to deal with them. Such things that have to be attended to is the payment of any tax to the Commonwealth that would accrue because of the payment of an entitlement, and to check and to verify their eligibility. And that's going on at the moment. And I would expect that payments will start going in the next 10 days. But as far as I'm concerned, I've paid $7 million up front. The reason I've done it is because I think Townsville needs a start, and we need to start circulating some money into the economy. The situation at Qld Nickel, there's been a lot said about it, but my position as an individual was I was a shareholder of the holding company of that company. So you would all know that someone who's a shareholder of BHP or Rio Tinto or someone like that has no personal liability for the debts of those companies. That's how we operate in a corporate structure in Australia. So I personally have never employed anyone, have no personal obligation to pay anyone for anything. It's no different than being a shareholder of another company. But I've done it because I believe in this town, and I believe in Townsville, and we want to encourage people to stay here. Following Mr Iskander's dispersal of those funds, all workers of Qld Nickel will have received 100% of all their entitlements, and that will be the end of the matter as far as the workers go. We are concerned, and I can just say this on behalf of Qld Resources, that the administrator at the time sacked the workforce, refused to allow us to transfer them to another vehicle to keep operating. I think you know the background of that. And also didn't allow us to pay any of the creditors at the time for the purposes of putting it into liquidation. My view is that that was done for political reasons, and the people of Townsville have paid a high price for that. And that's what we're pursuing in the courts, and we'll continue to pursue that later on this year. But that really doesn't have anything to do with the workforce or anybody else but ourselves and the administrator. I'll just introduce you to Sam Iskander, who can just confirm what I've told you.
Thank you, Mr Palmer. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Iskander. I'm the principal of Alexander Law, and I can confirm that I hold $7 million in our firm's trust account on behalf of Qld Resources. And as far as we have at the moment, we've got about 69 claims that have come through. And we are currently working with administrators and the accountants of Qld Resources to disperse those funds accordingly. And we hope to disperse those funds within the next 10 days or so. And that'll be open for the next 4 months for all eligible Qld workers. Thank you.
Okay, so has anybody got any questions you want to ask me or Mr Iskander?
Is it in your view that for Mr. Iskander, that the view will be that the money may be paid out before the May 18th?
Well, no. I mean, people have to make a claim. And so far we've got 69 claims. I personally envisage there'll be something like 300 or 335 claims. There should be something like that based on the records that we've got. So it's really up to people to make a claim. We can't make a claim. We can't pay a claim that hasn't been made.
But those 69
Yeah.
may theoretically get the money before May 18th?
Well, as we said, they've been lodged, right? They're being processed now, and we'd anticipate that they will being paid in about 10 days' time, which is well before the election, right? But the situation is we're leaving this open for a period of 4 months, because there should be over 300 claimants in our view, right? And so we've got to leave it open for a longer period to allow people to make claims if they want to.
What happens to claims?
Sorry?
What happens to outstanding people who haven't come forward to claim and there's money left over?
Well, that'll be returned to the company after that time, you know. But we would hope, and we'll be taking proactive steps. We'll be putting advertisements in the paper and writing to them and things like that. But unless a person makes a claim, or it's very difficult to pay them. And you know, when a person does make a claim, it doesn't mean it's automatically accepted. It has to be confirmed that were they employees, right? How long did they work for? What was the calculation of their entitlement, right? And that all has to be double checked. What's the tax liability to be paid on the amount you're going to pay them? As there'll be so much will be paid to the worker, so much will be paid on his behalf to Australian Taxation Department like you would anyone's wages. So all that has to be done. So it's a process that I would imagine would take 7 to 10 days from lodging a claim to go through that normally. But it won't just stop at those 69 workers. It'll be open and it will just be continually rolled out and paid as people come through.
I suppose the question is why the onus is on the worker though. I mean, Qld obviously has details from these employees. The liquidator has the details as well. It seems like the cards are in the hands of both major parties.
Well, it doesn't, of course, because we don't know where these people are. We haven't got their bank details, and we can't deal with claims that we don't have. And so we just have to wait to confirm those things. Also, you can't discuss other people's private business in a generic sense. So, we need to get their permission to be able to do that, their permission to be able to pay the accrued taxation on it. And we also need to get them to sign a release so that they're happy that they've been fully paid.
Mr. Palmer, in the Guardian today it was reported that there would be more information in the council bulletin on Tuesday as to how workers can get that money, but there was none.
Where? On Tuesday?
Yes, in the Guardian it was reported that Qld workers could find more info on how they could get this unpaid entitlement or apply for them through an ad or some more information in the council.
Well, I don't know about the Guardian. I'm not responsible for what the Guardian publishes. It's a highly dubious magazine anyway. I would never read it, rely on it. But of course you can go on our website. And on our website there's full details of how you can apply for it, and that's the appropriate place where it should be. This is about the second press conference, I think, where we've told people that these funds are available. And, as I said, 69 workers have responded, and that's a good thing. So if more people respond, we'll deal with them.
Will you be paying for the $70 million loan that the Commonwealth paid?
Well, that's a furphy as well. The dispute before the Supreme Court of Queensland is that the administrator sacked these people. He should never have sacked them. There were funds available to continue their employment. Any person in a job would rather continue a job than be made redundant. And we offered to continue to pay them to meet all the creditors. And for some unknown reason, the administrator sacked all these people. And we say that he's liable to pay that money back to the Commonwealth.
What about those 247 workers that were made redundant 3 days before Qld went into receipt?
Again, once it goes into administration, the control of a company is I wasn't as part of that, but the control of a company is lost. So normally under the Act, if someone's made redundant, the company has 7 days to pay them. So the obligation to pay those workers and pay those redundancy was the administrators, and he failed to do it. Instead of that, he sacked another 500 people.
So who's picking up their bill?
Sorry?
So who's picking up the bill of those 247?
Well, we're suing the administrators for all of that because there were funds available in the company to meet those payments. And indeed, from my investigations, I can say Mr Mensink took immediate steps to have the calculations done so that payment could be made. The Act provides for that sort of period of time to do the right calculation. You've got 7 days to pay people. And he left instructions to do it, but the administrator failed to do it. He countermanded those instructions. That's things that are before the federal court at the moment. The Supreme Court, yeah.
You said that you don't actually have the responsibility.
I don't. That's right, yeah.
Workers say you're a board member, you're involved in board meetings.
I wasn't a board member.
They've said you're involved in board meetings.
I wasn't involved in board meetings. It's just not true.
So you're calling these former workers liars?
Absolutely. Definitely. And if you take Ben Swan, who was the secretary of the AW at the time, he's been committed because he's got mental problems, and the press was running around listening to what Ben said. He's no longer secretary of the AWU, and it's well known that he was mentally unbalanced. So that's just rubbish, to be honest with you. So, and it is true that shareholders have no responsibility for the debts of a company.